Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Season 22 Tournament's Group Stage Group Draw. I'm joined here by Pierce on this wonderful afternoon. How are you doing, my friend?
Yo, it's always a great time to be here with you, Ink, on the broadcast. And it's been a lovely day. I hope all of you out there had a happy Valentine's Day. But of course, we're not just throwing hearts. We're here to talk about the upcoming spells going to be thrown around in the Season 2022 tournament. The qualifiers have come to an end, and now it's time to find out who is squaring up against who in the early stages of the 2022 bracket. So we have the group draws. Ink, can you tell us a little bit about how this drawing is going to go, how the groups will be decided?
So, first of all, to clarify, we haven't pre-decided the groups ahead of time, and I'm not revealing them immediately. This is going to be a live reveal. So, whatever happens on this wheel, on these wheels, that's going to be the groups. I'm not like deciding. The wheels could give us groups of death, they could give us very imbalanced groups. Whatever happens, happens.
Right.
So,
it's completely random within the seeding.
yeah. So, to clarify the seeding, so we have 3 pools of players. The first, which I will show on the bottom right of the screen, you can see the wheel. The wheel is the names of the people who qualified. So this wheel is the first pool. The first pool is the group winners, or rather qualifier winners. Excuse me. So on paper, these will be some of the toughest. Actually, excuse me for 1 second. I believe I got one of the inputs wrong. Let's
No
fix
worries.
this.
We'll clean it up very quickly.
And this, I had to swap 2 players around. This was from qualifier 1, where there was a draw in the finals, and we had to decide it in a very different way. All right, so there's the group winners. The second pool, which is now on the screen, is a group qualifier runners-up. So these people got runners-up in the qualifiers. And then the third pool is...
Before we talk about the third pool, just to clarify for myself and for the viewers at home, each qualifier, over the past 2 weeks roughly, we had 4 qualifiers for people to enter the group stage of this tournament, right? And in each qualifier, there were 4 of them, and 4 people qualified, meaning that there are 16 people in total that we'll be drawing on and splitting them into 4 groups. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and so the first wheel you showed us, it had the winners. The second wheel that we're looking at right now on the screen, these are the runner-ups?
Yes, these are the runner-ups of the qualifiers.
Very good. And then after that, it'll be a draw for the other qualifying participants.
Yes, and since we didn't have a third place game for any of the qualifiers, this is 8 people instead of 4. So two people from this wheel will be drawn for each group. So
it's possible that somebody will square off against, they'll be in the same group as somebody they played in their qualifier.
yeah, in fact, there's a small chance, it's a very slim, but it can happen, that, let's say we have qualifier number 1, the 4 people who qualify from qualifier number 1 could all just play each other in a group. So...
yeah, that seems exceedingly unlikely, but I suppose possible.
It is possible, yes. We'll see what happens, though. And... on that note, I will also say the order we're going to do this in, to build the most tension. I discussed this with Pierce a little bit beforehand, but we decided the more fun way to do it would be, instead of revealing one group at a time, we're going to first do all of the people who qualified in Pool 3, so all the semifinalists, and we're going to build the groups with first the semifinalists, then we're going to choose the runners-up, then we're going to choose the group winners. So we'll know who the group winner qualifier winner for each group is at the very end.
Got it. So first, each group will be evenly seeded with all semifinalists from the qualifiers, meaning people who placed 3rd or 4th in the qualifier. Group A, B, C, and D will be seeded sequentially. But not to completion, just with the semifinalists from the qualifiers. Then we'll have all the runner-ups seeded each into one of those groups, and then lastly, all the finalists will be seeded into those groups to complete 4 groups in total with 4 players each.
Yes, that is a perfect assessment.
Excellent. All right. Is there anything else we're waiting on?
I don't think so. I think we are ready to
In
get
the
our-
wheel, brother. Let's get to it.
Yep. So first person in Group A out of the semifinalists. Keep in mind this is the semifinalists wheel. Let's go.
Here we go.
Ooh, is it gonna be Pimps or Nibbles? It's gonna be Nibbles. And so Nibbles will be the first person in Group A.
Okay. All right.
So-
Curious to see how this group developed. Now, I can probably try very hard to go back and check. Do you recall which one of these other semifinalists was in Nibbles' group?
I don't actually.
You know what? It almost doesn't matter because I know some players who qualified actually played in multiple qualifiers. So it's really hard to tell and really hard to say. A player might have ended up qualifying in their second or third qualifier, and they may have actually played against some of the players who qualified in qualifiers previous to that. So I guess what's going to be really interesting is if someone gets seeded into a group with players that they lost to on previous qualifiers. But Spork remembers.
Spork remembers. It was Oa, Eon, Unity, and Nibbles who made it through.
Okay.
So this is actually Nibbles' first tournament in terms of the tournament that he's qualified for the main event. So we'll see if a relative newcomer in terms of tournaments can make his mark. However, he has been very active in the elemental scene. He's one of the top PMO players, so
Okay.
definitely no slouch.
All right, let's get to the next draw. Who is going to be the first contestant in Group B? Run it up.
Yeah, and this will. Oh no, we'll do the second of Group A. We'll do the second of Group A.
Okay. So we'll do A, B, B, C, C, D, D
Yeah.
instead of spread. That's fine. It'll be the same either way. All right.
Actually,
so,
actually
second-
no. I think I like that better. We'll do B next. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah. So
let's do it.
let's see who's gonna be the first person in Group B out of the semifinalists. None other than last season's runner-up for the last LTS tournament. Excuse me. Last LTS tournament's runner-up, Cryo.
Ryo. Group B is definitely going to be one I have my eye on. I have a lot of love for a lot of players in the community, but it is no secret that I am a humongous Cryo fan, and I always love watching him play. So I'm really, really looking forward to how Group B unfolds.
For sure. And Pierce, would you say Cryo is somewhat underseeded in general? I mean, he was
So-
last last LTS tourney's runners up, so
I'm
definitely
going
a
to
very
expound
strong
on that
player.
just a little bit, right? Yeah, just a little bit of expounding on that. I actually see a lot of players in here that I would consider to be underseeded. I mean, first of all, I say this with incredible respect and love to all the players in the tournament because I think that these are a lot of strong guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody who made it this far knows how to play Arcanist to a pretty high level and with some exceptionalism in their gameplay, right? But I'm seeing Cryo here in the semifinalist wheel. That's like a huge, like, oh my gosh, I wasn't able to see his games, but I saw Strength Power DX on the runner-up wheel, when this guy has probably the most decorated crest of any player in the game. So I do agree that Cryo's underseeded, but I don't think he's an anomaly in terms of this tournament. And it's kind of giving me a little bit of anticipation for how the rest of the tournament is going to unfold, because I definitely think that it's going to create some room for very potentially interesting groups. And it's going to mean that some of the later stages in the bracket might be a little unexpected from how we might have predicted that they would come out. prior to the data that we're revealing now. So we're just going to have to spin the wheel and see how the groups do end up unfolding. But I do agree with you that Cryo is probably a little underseeded here, and I'm interested to see how he ends up proving or disproving that once we hop back into the sands.
Oh, Pierce, I think your mic has like a little bit of like background noise. You wanna?
Background noise. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear
That's
like
what
I can hear the background a bit. You wanna fix that real quick?
I'll just mute when I'm not talking. It'll be easier.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, so apologies if the viewers if you hear a little bit, but we'll keep going regardless. It's not a big deal. Group C, first player from the semifinalists. Let's spin it. And it's going to be Eon, or Wise Old Man, as many people know him as.
My fellow co-caster, finding his spot, getting through, and landing himself in Group C. Obviously, we're still very early in the draw stage, so we don't know who he's going to square up against yet, but no matter who gets rolled, he'll have his work cut out for him. Let's just see the exact shape of that work in a few more draws.
Yeah, and this is Eon's first LTS tournament that he's qualified for, so we know he got into the main event in Season 21 in the HTS tournament. We'll see if he can perform in the LTS tournament. Alright, Group D, our first person in Group D. Let's spin it. Oh, is it gonna be Pimps? It is gonna be Pimps.
Summon Pimps it is.
Yeah, so Pimps got through the second qualifier, I believe it was. I believe that was the qualifier he made it through. Let me fix his name. Oh, it's quite a big name. I'll see if I can turn it to just Pimps. There we go.
Can we put it on 2 lines?
It'll be a bit, it'll look a
This is
bit
fine,
weird.
this is
It'll
fine,
look a
this is
bit
fine.
weird.
Yeah, agreed. This is fine.
Alright, so yeah, Pimps also making his seasonal tournament debut in terms of main event. I believe he played in the Elementals tournament, the weekends series, like Nibbles did. But in terms of seasonal tournaments, I don't know if he played in the Season 21 tournament either, in the qualifiers. But yeah, this is his main tournament debut. We'll see how he performs in this.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing Pimps in the Oceans tournament, but I'm excited to see how he's going to do here on Sands.
Yeah, alright.
And with that, we've got our first layer of players, 1 per group, here in the draw phase. Now we're going to start seeing some pairings and some future matchups. So here's where it gets spicy.
Yeah, for sure. So this will be Group A. Who will be the second person in Group A? Let's find out. It's going to be myself, Ink.
All right. Well, we know you're going to have Nibbles to contend with.
Yeah, so last season I did make top 16 in the Dark Fortress tournament. Just to clarify, by last season I mean...
That was 2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago, the LTS tournament. The last LTS tournament, I did make top 16. So, not my first go around, but I'm not really...
you made your own name extra large.
Yeah, it's because my name's smaller. Game OBS doesn't like that as much. So I can move it over.
I'm just messing with you, Ink.
There we go. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, apologies if the names are like a little bit uneven in terms of size. It's just because some names are longer than others. But yeah, I don't think I really need to introduce myself that much. I will move on to the next name, Group B. Oh, is it gonna be Salem or Zartak? It's on the edge. It's gonna be Salem.
Now, JG Salem versus Cryo is going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. So Salem was saying in, I don't remember where, I don't remember if it was tournament discussion or not. He's not really as experienced with LTS as he is HTS, but clearly experienced enough to have made it top 16, so definitely no slouch. I think maybe he's even underrating himself in that regard.
Yeah, JG Salem's a monster.
So he did make the Season 21 tournament main event, but this is his first LTS tournament that he's participating in. We'll see how he performs in LTS, if he can replicate his performance in the last HTS tournament, which he got 3rd place in. It'll be quite impressive. Alright. Group C. Well, only 2 names in Group C, so... Oh, Nibble's saying he should be pot 2. Hold on, before we continue. That might be correct.
Hold on.
That might be correct. Let me double check.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that would be a big deal. I believe it's Harpo instead. Yes, it is. Okay, so in that case,
Well, then I think in terms of maintaining the draw's integrity, we'll just switch Harpo into that Group B and put JG Salem where Harpo would be rolled. So JG won't have been rolled yet, and Harpo will be there as he should have been initially.
Yeah, I agree. So that will be
Yeah,
Harpo.
good catch, Nibbles.
Good catch, Nibbles, thank you. Let me fix Harpo's name then.
By the way, Harpo is still an insane player. What the heck?
Yeah. That is, that's already looking like a group of death right there.
Can you imagine? Yeah, if JG gets rolled into Group B anyway, I'm yelling.
It could happen, it could happen. 1 in 4 chance. So, now I'll actually spin for Group C. Like I said, only 2 names, so we'll see out of these 2 names who we will get. Oh, it's on the edge. And it's gonna be Zartak. So, Zartak is definitely not a newcomer by any means. I would say his main setting is LTS. I don't know if he would agree with that. He's a very strong player. He barely missed out on qualifying in the Dark Fortress tournament, which was a bit of a surprise. But now he is here and he is ready to compete, so we'll see what becomes of him.
Definitely. Good luck to Zartak in the upcoming rounds, and of course, that's also going to round out our final Group D as well, since we have run out of people to spin on this wheel. So you can go ahead and populate that Group D with, I guess you could spin it anyway if you want.
Yeah, we'll spin it anyways for formalities.
Yeah, with Naya Manyang.
Yeah, Nyama.
I've not heard of this player at all.
I think it's I don't know if it's pronounced Niyama Yang or Nyama Yang. They'll have to probably correct us on that, but they are indeed a newcomer. I've also not seen them before. They did manage to get through the qualifiers, and I believe this is their first tournament. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see
fresh blood.
Some fresh blood. So we'll see what the fresh blood can bring to the table.
Yeah, that's gonna be exciting.
All right. With that spin, that concludes all our semi-finalists. So now, we move on to Pool 2, our runners-up. And with these spins, now the groups get a bit more spicy, to say the least. So, let's get into it. Our first player out of the runners-up will be in Group A. So this is for Group A. It's gonna be DX. So, DX.
Okay.
Yeah, so DX. Oh, did you step away for a second?
No, I fixed my microphone issue.
Ah, okay, got it. Well,
That's why I was like kind of not talking as much, because I was trying to resolve this. Does it sound better on your end?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I got a new headset, and Discord was still decided to pick up audio from my headset instead of from my desk mic, and I didn't realize that was what was causing the issue, but I figured it out. So thank you everybody at home for your patience. DX getting spun into Group A feels classic. I must say, I'm a little grateful not to see DX in Group B. I think that would have, we'll say, diminished the later stages of the tournament for me. A little bit, you know.
Potentially.
I was hoping that would not happen, and so I'm very grateful that we did not land in that timeline. But
Yeah.
maybe you're a little less grateful, Link.
Well, it's whatever to me. DX, of course, many people would consider him the strongest player in all of Arcanus. Archmage on every ladder, won like the past 3 tournaments he's played in. He didn't play in the Season 21 tournament, but he won Season 20, which was the last LTS tournament, and I believe he won the LTS tournament before that, Season 18, the Alien World tournament. So he's, of course, going to be one of the favorites and perhaps the guy to beat this go around, without a doubt.
Now, I'll also say personally, this is, although I watch a lot of players who are playing on ladder. I've watched quite a number of DX games, so I do have some idea of his playstyle, and I've also watched quite a bit of his videos that he's released on YouTube. So I'm not a stranger to DX, but this is going to be the first time that I'm going to be able to cast on his matches, because in the Season 20, the Dark Fortress tournament, I watched him play it and I watched him win it live. But I did not, obviously, since he didn't participate in Season 21, where I wasn't involved, where I had become involved, I didn't have a chance to study his progress through an entire tournament and watch him live that way. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how DX navigates this particular event and how he goes through his group, and if he does make it into the later stages of bracket. It's going to be a treat for everyone to watch. I'm glad that he is participating again in this tournament. Since he chose to sit the last one out.
Yeah, for sure. So now we will move to Group B, which is shaping up to a bit of a group of death. So we'll see who we get. Oh, is it gonna be Spork?
Spin it.
It is gonna be Spork. Wow.
Dude, it is Spork. Oof. Dude. Really cannot understate how insanely good of a player Spork is. Right? Like Harpo, Spork, Cryo. The only saving grace for this group is that DX cannot be here because for some reason he's not in Group A. He's not like a qualifier winner, which doesn't even make sense to me. Like, what was happening in these qualifiers?
Oh,
I really do need to go back and watch these games.
he had to unfortunately forfeit his qualifier match because he had to go. So that was probably why.
I see.
Yeah, so he had to take a lower seed. Yeah.
He qualified and dipped. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, these guys have their work cut out for him. Group B is insane. I mean, like, it doesn't even make sense for me to talk about how insane this group is. The only thing that makes sense is that for all of you watching at home, if you're sitting here watching the draw, let me tell you something. make sure you watch Group B. I mean, obviously, you should try to watch the whole tournament. I'm going to try to watch the whole tournament. I do believe that we are going to stream all of the matches.
As many as we
unless
can.
yeah, obviously there might be some circumstance that arises that stops us from streaming every single match, but we are going to do our very best to bring as much of the content from this tournament to this channel and stream it all. That being said, you can be sure that we're going to be doing our absolute best job at making sure we get all of these Group B matches to you, and I hope you're going to be here with me watching them, because this is going to be a hell of a time.
Yeah, this is Group B is going to be. It's gonna produce some amazing matches. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Three big time veterans. We got last LTS tournaments runners up, LTS tournaments third place, I believe, and Harpo, I believe, got to. Let me double check that. Oops. Let me open up a new tab so we don't see that. I believe Harpo also made like a very deep run. He definitely got to. Yeah, so Harpo got to quarterfinals in season 22 tournament. So he got out of his group and made made it to the playoffs. So
Right.
all very strong players. Very excited to see how that group plays out.
Well, not all of them can get out of this group, so let's see where the Kings are at.
Yeah. But
We'll
anyways,
save some of the hype for the matches themselves. Who's it gonna be for Group C? Unity or JG Salem?
yep, 1 in 2 chance. And it looks like it's gonna be JG Salem. All right,
It is.
so
I think you got to remember, Ink, that you're spinning live, and you got to give a sec for the stream to catch up. Don't spoil the result too quick.
oh right, sorry. Well, no, I also said it because like the wheel was like it was like moving. Like the way it was moving, it wasn't gonna land on Unity. It was like too far away.
I understand.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, the stream is like, let's say, like 3 seconds behind your live spin.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Okay, so we did introduce Salem already.
Yeah,
Said
we
some on
spoke
accident.
about him.
We spoke about
He's
him.
not in Group B. He is, in fact, in Group C. Rest
Yeah.
in peace to anybody that has to undergo his wrath in Group C. Unless you have what it takes to knock him down a peg. We'll see. I mean, listen. Wise old man, obviously, great friend of mine. Very, very strong player. If he practices, gets his micro up, he has the wisdom, the knowledge, and the game knowledge to definitely pull out something interesting in his group. You know, I have complete faith that he's going to put up a good showing and that he has the potential to win any match he enters into. Zartak, definitely not a name to be slept on. So JG Salem is also going to have his work cut out for him, powerful as he may be. It's going to be a good time to watch these matches for sure.
Yeah. So, well, there's only one more runner-up, and
course, the
they will have to go
formality
to
spin.
the formality spin, and that is going to be Unity, who is actually also a newcomer to tournaments. He has not played in a tournament yet.
I was just going to ask, you know, I know next to nothing about Unity, and I didn't see him play much I didn't have a chance to see him in the qualifiers. So hearing that he's new is not that much of a surprise to me, since I have almost no data on this player.
I believe this is oops. I believe this is correct. I don't. Oh yeah, so in qualifier number 1, I believe it was, he ran into DX, and he actually put up a pretty decent fight. But then he got through in qualifier number 2. He got runner-up in the qualifier, so definitely not a slouch. We'll see if the new blood can make some noise in this tournament.
Well, we do have a lot of the newer players here in Group D, so they'll have a fighting chance to square off against each other before being subject to situations where they're forced to overcome veterans.
Yeah. Alright, so I think with the way the groups are shaping up, we're going to be moving on to the group winners. qualifier winners, excuse me. The way I was thinking of doing it, we'll go DCBA this time, and we'll find
Okay,
out who's
okay.
gonna be Group B at the end.
Agreed. All right.
So, to clarify to the viewers at home, this spin is for Group D. Let's go.
Let's see. Let's see.
Ooh, that was very
Wheel has
close.
spun. There it goes.
And it's gonna be Nev.
Oh, or Nev. It's Nev. Oh. Nev in the group. Now, Nev is he is in the chat and he said he wanted the toughest group, but it does not look like that wish is going to be granted. You know, again, with respect to all players and speaking only to their previous competitive history, it could be objectively stated that Group D is probably considered the easiest group, and so Nev will have to first work his way through that group if he wants to face off against some of the contenders that he's looking for in the tournament and get a piece of that action.
Yeah, so Nev has had some pretty solid past tournament results. He's a little bit more of a HTS player than an LTS player, but he's still very, very strong at LTS. He's like still one of the top LTS players, no doubt. In terms of LTS tournaments, I want to say that he didn't participate in S20. Is that correct?
In the Dark Fortress tournament?
Yeah, I believe he didn't participate in that one. Yeah, he wasn't in the main event. He did participate in S18. That was the last one he participated in.
Before my time.
Yeah, so let me see if I can pull that up. S18. Oh, did he also participate in the Open Cup? No. Yeah, I have to go back through some tournament history to
So basically,
just
what
double
you're
check.
saying is this is Nev's chance to really establish himself as a dominant LTS player in a tournament setting.
Ah, yes.
Because
Okay, I found it.
It can be said that has not been done before.
Okay, I
At
remember.
least not in recent times.
Yeah, so Nev did participate in Season 18. It was a very different format back then. It was the league format. He finished 8th out of 12 people in that table, which was a very stacked tournament still, so keep that in mind.
Of course.
Just missed out on the playoffs by, I think, only one win. So, I vaguely remember that tournament. I think he joined like last second or something like that. So yeah, we'll see how this time will go about for him. Very excited to see him playing again.
I'm absolutely looking forward to watching Nev's journey because I love it. I absolutely love it. I love to see when a player is a little hungry for
good competition and to mark out their path and forge themselves some success. So seeing Nev eager to square off against the other top dogs in the tournament means that he's going to have to first make it through this group of, I guess what we'll say, less decorated players. And then if he manages to do that, we'll get to see him get his wish and show why he's so eager for that action in the later stages of the tournament.
Yeah. Anyways,
Moving
moving
on
on.
from that, though, we have a Group C draw.
Yeah, Group C. So far we have Salem, Zartak, and Eon. Who will join them in Group C? Wheels quite close. And it's gonna be Oa.
I'm grateful that Oa is here.
Here as in
I think it produces in Group C.
in Group C, okay.
Yeah. First of all, Oa is an insane player. Okay. He's so good. I think that his style is very, very well suited to this tournament. He's actually one of my favorites to win the whole thing. And I mean, we saw how he performed season 21. I became an absolutely insanely devoted Oa fan after the last event. And what I did not want to see is for him to have to face off against the rest of Group B too early in the tournament. Because, trust me, I absolutely want to see the matches between Oa and then Spork, Harpo, and Cryo, but maybe not so early, you know? I'm hoping that he's able to produce some results a little bit later into the tournament where I get to see those matches in a very, very high stakes format. And I also didn't want to see him square off against DX so early in the tournament. So I think that this spot is very comfortable for where I would expect. If it was hand seeded, if it was deliberately seeded, not randomized, this is where I would have had Oa land. And I'm glad.
This is where, in other words, what you're saying is, for Oa, it's probably better that he's in a group like this rather than a group than, you know, the groups of death or groups with like tons of decorated players, rather.
Right.
So that
I think
we can see
I
a
think
bit.
Group C is strong, but not ridiculous.
Yeah. I would agree if we're going based off past results for sure.
Right. Like
Alright.
Eon, obviously strong. Zartek, obviously strong. Salem, obviously strong, right? Like we got monsters in there. But also, it's not like, okay, this person's. I would say that Oa's results align properly when compared to the rest of the people in his group and their positions.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got 2 people left. We're
The
going to
last
do.
spin.
This is going to be the spin. Well, yeah, there will be a formality spin, but this is going to be the last spin to formally decide a group, and it's either going to be Miley or TKA. TKA had not played since the season 18 tournament. He has not played like almost any Arcanist since then. But back then he was a very solid player, very consistent. He managed to win his qualifier. Miley as well has been around for a very long time. Managed to win the same qualifier that DX was in. I believe that qualifier was me, DX, Pimps, and Miley. So we'll see who will be the final participant in Group B.
Let's find out.
All right.
Slowing down. And it looks like Miley Hannah in the group of death.
Yep.
How do you feel about this?
That is. I mean, it's clear that Group B is the group of death, right? We sort of expected, whoever would be drawn out of the top seeds, they probably would not want to be put in this group because
Right.
some pretty underseeded people here. But I think it'll be interesting to see what Miley can do in this group. If she can maybe make some noise, because she did win the qualifier. It's not a walk in the park.
Not at all. And, as we see Sport commented in the chat, best result possible looks like somewhat of a balanced bracket. I'm heavily leaning to agree. I mean, you can't really do anything about the fact that Cryo is underseeded in such a capacity, but...
Harpo too.
And we can say... And I was going to say, you could say the same about Harpo as well, right? Like, it's hard to, play around that, but given the draw of what we had, I'd say overall the tournament looks like it's going to be a good time. Obviously, somebody in Group B is going to be disappointed, but the reality is, if you're not winning, you're losing, and that could happen anywhere in any group. So, somebody everywhere is going to be disappointed. Overall, though, it looks like we are going to get a lot of good Arcanists out of the group stages.
Yeah.
Ink, you want to go ahead and give the wheel one last roundy round?
Yeah, this is
Throw
going
up
to be
TKA on the board.
our formality spin. Like I said about TKA, who is going to be the last person in Group A to round out the groups. Making his comeback in this tournament. Last time he played was season 18. And he is a past tournament winner, I can tell you that much. It was a while ago. But been a while since he's really, I would say, been at his, like, peak. I don't want to say he's, like, washed, but he's had, like, a string of, like, you know... Inactivity. Even back when, in the Season 18 tournament, he was, like, inactive, and then he went active again, and inactive again, active again. But if he, like... When he's trying his best, like when he's, you know, playing games and practicing and whatnot, he can be a very, very tough opponent. I can say that much.
When he's on.
When he's on, he's definitely one of the best LTS players out there. So, it'll be interesting to see how well he performs in this tournament.
So for me, go ahead.
He will be in Group A, I was just going to say that, with DX, myself, and Nibbles.
I was going to say, for me, this has produced a beautiful spectacle that I'm really looking forward to watching. Because here, I have Group A with, like, demons of the past, right? And DX is pretty active. To call him a demon of the past is not really fair, but he didn't participate in the Season 21 tournament. So for me, at the very least, maybe not for all of you, but for anybody who's just watching, tuning in, primarily from a spectator perspective, and anyone who's new from the Steam launch, right? We haven't really got much of a chance to see DX in a tournament level. And so to have an old guard legend like TKA, DX himself, obviously yourself, Ink, who you're not super active either when it comes to playing. You don't really participate in too many ladder games. You just play in the tournaments and you show that you're still of an extremely proficient playing level, but you're not really out there on the regular grind in spite of the fact that your skills are still up to par. And you got Nibbles. This is a story about old legends returning to prominence, right? Group B, we have the Group of Death, where a bunch of players who could be considered underseeded are all going to be squaring off to rise up to that spot and escape the group stages. And then Group C, we got people that are either, I guess you could say, trying to solidify their legacy. Players that are already well known, but perhaps not the most sung names in Arcanus, trying to really establish themselves as, you know, another titan of the ages, right? And then in Group D, you have a couple of new players or players that are otherwise trying to prove and establish themselves, you know, among the rest of the competitive field. So when I look at it from this perspective, I've got something different to look out for from each and every one of these groups, a different storyline that's all going to end up converging into the final stages of the tournament after the group stage is over. And it's going to be an absolute treat and a pleasure to watch. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how all these matches end up playing out.
Yeah, for sure. I think you analyzed that spot on, to be honest. I couldn't have put it any better. So, to those who might be watching this live, the bracket draw that are participating, I will be making the challenge in the next... it'll be up in the next 15 minutes or so once the stream ends. But we wish all the participants the best of luck in this tournament, and hopefully we can broadcast some of their matches. I will be also putting up a sort of like scheduling sheet for those who want to have their matches broadcast, like we did in the Season 20 tournament, so that we know, you know, we can see when everybody's got their games scheduled. And yeah, I think that if you have anything else you want to add, Pierce?
Yeah, sure. So really quick before we sign off, you know, for those watching, let's talk a little bit about the tournament format. Obviously now we have the groups decided who's playing in them. But what are they playing for? How many people make it out of a group and into the main bracket? Is
Very
it
good
top
question.
1 or top 2?
Very good question. So, the format is, in the group stage, it's GSL, or in other terms, as some people know it as, it's double elimination. So,
Okay.
if you lose your first group game Then you go to a lower bracket with the other person who lost their group game. And if you lose that game, or you lose in other words, if you lose 2 matches in your group, you're out. If you win 2 matches in your group, you make it to the playoffs, and that means top 2 in each group will advance to the playoffs. The playoffs will be seeded single elimination, all matches best of 3, except for the grand finals, which will be best of 5.
Okay.
And it will be, of course, the people who won the group versus a random runner-up.
Got it. And so, with that being said, since it's this format, and not a round-robin format in the group, it means, does that mean that we should expect the 1 seeds squaring off in the 4 seeds in the group, and then the 3 seeds squaring off against the 2 seeds of the group? Is that how that's going to work?
So...
Meaning, is it going to be TKA versus Nibbles, you versus DX, Miley versus Cryo, Spork versus Harpo, etc.?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so we have an idea already of what we're going to see early on.
Yeah, for sure.
That means I really have my eye on this Unity versus Nayama match.
Yeah, two new players.
2
round
relatively
1.
unknown players, right, exactly. I had the least data there. I mean, like, obviously, there's some insane matches that I'm looking forward to watching, right? You versus DX, Spork versus Harpo. That's going to be a highlight of
Yeah, that's going to be a...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be... I would think 2 of the matches I'm looking forward to seeing. Spork versus Harpo, Group B, Group of Deathmatch. Very brutal round 1 matchup, to be honest.
JG Salem versus Zartek.
JG Salem versus Zartek is another one that's great.
That's gonna be a
And
movie.
Unity versus Niyama, I'm curious to see how those 2 play, versing each other round 1. And actually, I will also make a shout to Miley and Cryo, because that even though it's a group winner versus someone who, was a 4th seed, I mean, Cryo's a runner-up. Like, from he's the reigning runner-up from LTS tournaments in particular.
You have to be so upset if you're Miley to get this good of a seed.
And then
Only
get
to have to fight Cryo first round.
Yeah,
in the
really.
group
Yeah,
stage.
that is really tough. A bit unfortunate.
But
Well,
yeah,
I think on that
that
end,
about covers it.
yeah, I think that about covers it. We will be heading off now. Perhaps we will have a broadcast tonight if there is a match scheduled tonight and not on a whim. So maybe if you're a viewer out there, you can look forward to that. We'll see who plays who tonight, if there is anybody, as well as tomorrow. And on that note, we will keep you all informed. So keep an eye out on the tournament broadcast channel to see if there's any matches that get broadcast from this tournament.
Yeah, if there happens to be a match that can be scheduled for tonight, I will be available, so just hit me up, and I'll be really, really glad to see you guys out on the sands. Ink, as always, brother, it's a pleasure. For everybody who tuned into this group drawing, I hope you had a good time as I did watching these matches get paired up, and I look forward to seeing you all in the stands as we enter the group stages of the Season 22 tournament. If not tonight, I'll see you guys soon.
Yep. Thank you all for watching. We all appreciate you. And we will see you all soon. Good luck to all the tournament participants.